Hey folks, it is August 26th, Wednesday, and it's Rod with Pow Group, and we're coming at you live with another daily market recap. In today's video, we're going to discuss the Fed's rate policy. They're looking to keep interest rates near zero for at least the next 5 years plus. We'll look at a few other market moving news articles, and we'll dive into a little bit of chart analysis. I'm still traveling, so it's a little dark in the background, so I apologize for that. But first on the list, before we jump into this, just make sure to smash the like if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing. It would show me a lot of support and I would appreciate that very much. So we're looking at the Fed for not changing the interest rate for 5 years plus, potentially in a new policy. So they are set to meet tomorrow, which I'll touch on some more economic calendar events in just a second, but they are scheduled to meet tomorrow. And they're looking to unveil a new monetary policy at some point within the next month. Honestly, this wasn't really a surprise to me. So I was a little shocked when the market decided to shoot up higher today. I think it's just a reason for them to drive this bubble bigger, and who knows how far they'll push this, because it's a liquidity driven rally. We all know that the Fed is pumping the market with ridiculous amounts of money. So another example of this on BNN Bloomberg, you can see that the Canadian government's giving $2 billion to bolster safe reopening of schools. A lot of people are saying, why are we even reopening schools in the first place? We could have potentially just ran with more online curriculums and maybe challenged the entire schooling system in general. Another market moving article that we saw was the Moderna news saying that its vaccine trial showed promising results in elderly folk. So we'll have to keep checking in on that to see if there's been any progress with that. And looking at RBC earnings, they beat the estimates. So profit soars of 45% in the capital markets is the reasoning behind that. So I think that probably caught a lot of people off guard. And that's the thing, when the Fed is keeping interest rates near zero, it's hard for them to make money off of loans, right? So this is through capital markets, and we're starting to see other opportunities present themselves. So there's other ways that banks can make money as well. Another thing I wanted to bring up is that Hurricane Laura is making its way to the Texas region this evening into tomorrow morning. So that could be some market moving news. We could see some potential chaos there. And we're also looking at a pretty jam-packed day tomorrow. So we have GDP numbers in the morning at 8:30. We have initial jobless claims at 8:30 as well. We also have the real consumer spending, and we also have Fed Chair Powell speaking about 40 minutes later. Going to be super interested to hear what the Fed has to say tomorrow, especially we'll see if there's any comments on the interest rates staying at zero or near zero for the next 5 years. So we'll see where their stance is on that, and maybe they give us any potential clues on what we can expect after that. And taking a look at the SPY chart. So the SPY chart on the 5-minute time frame, basically this is what I was watching all day. I just used EMA 12 support, and I saw that we were just looking for a 5-minute higher low to start the morning, and any dip was basically for buying. At least that's how it's been so far. And with tech rotation going on today, it was clear to see that the rotation from other sectors into tech this morning was very evident. Netflix was up 10, 11% there in a straight moonshot. So it was clear to me that they were targeting QQQ. And because QQQ is such a heavy weight in SPY, I knew that SPY was likely going to just form a 5-minute higher low. So I exited a short position that I had, and I re-shorted here at the top of the day when we got extreme in the RSIs. And I knew to just be watching EMA 12. So when we didn't close the candle below that, and then here for the second time, that's when I re-entered, or that's whenever I covered my short, and I shorted from here, covered here. And then for the rest of the day, I saw that we were forming a ascending triangle on SPY, which is just a horizontal line. I've drawn this for you guys before, but in case you don't know what it is, it just means that it's usually its tendency is to break to the upside. So you see a little bit of a higher low and then a horizontal line of resistance, and then a break to the upside is what we saw, which is typical classical analysis theory. So it played out to a T, and I knew to just be looking for a new all-time high. We tested the top of the Bollinger Bands. I reshorted again, and I actually covered right here when we were testing EMA 12 or 26. So I did cover my position at EMA 26, and I could have got a little bit more of a reward, but I knew that we would potentially see a strong close, and we could potentially see some momentum into the end of the day. It's now 4:50, so we got 10 minutes left in the day, and we'll have to wait and see, but I would expect that SPY cools off tomorrow. That's just the hunch that I have. We see some more rotation, potentially leave QQQ. But as you can see on SPY, we're at the top of the daily, we're outside of the daily Bollinger Bands. And on the monthly, we're extremely outside. The last time that happened, it was followed by a bloodbath. So keeping in mind that we do not close outside of these Bollinger Bands very often. And there was one time back here, but this is starting to get extreme. SPY is not monthly overbought yet. QQQ, I think, was overbought on every single time frame the last time I checked, about a couple hours ago. But looking at the weekly, we're still in a weekly uptrend. We're testing the top of the weekly Bollinger Bands. We're close to overbought on the weekly on SPY. The daily chart, still nothing, no damage on the daily chart. We are getting extreme. We're getting to 77 on the RSI on the daily, and we're testing the Bollinger Bands as well. All eyes on the Fed meeting tomorrow. And like I said, I was watching that ascending triangle today. I knew to be exiting my short and just wait for another chance to reshort it, right? So you can see here that we clearly broke that pattern bullish, and I knew that the 5-minute was getting a little bit extended. And you can see here we were also forming a little bit of a bearish divergence on the RSI, which is the indicator that tells you if something's overbought or oversold. So the price was going up to new highs, but the RSI was trending down. So that's something that I was using as a clue. And then, like I said, when we got here to the top, I reshorted again and covered around the, just playing it safe, just scalping this. It's pretty unclear right now which way the market wants to go. So I'm just taking it day by day. Like I said, QQQ blasted off to new highs today. They obviously targeted tech today, and it's just getting insane. We're 79 on the RSI, weekly overbought, monthly overbought, daily overbought. Every single time frame has been overbought, except for we cooled off the 5-minute RSI. So again, whether or not we see some continuation into QQQ tomorrow, we'll have to wait and see, but I would say they see some rotation into, and news could always change that, especially with the Fed meeting tomorrow. Looking at the dollar, the US currency index, you can see here that we're trying to hold a base of this low here, which actually this is the 5-minute chart. I want to go back to the daily. So you can see here, we could be setting up for a potential inverse head and shoulders. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, but it's just looking like range sideways. We just barely broke that inside bar bearish. So not really any clear direction. We'll want to keep an eye on the dollar for any, if the dollar sees any meaningful bounce on the weekly, then we will likely see Bitcoin drop, gold drop, start to pull back, right? And we're also testing the low of the Bollinger Bands here on DXY on the weekly. The monthly, we're already well outside the Bollinger Bands. So obviously extended in the opposite direction, and we'll look to see if the weekly bounce can get underway on DXY. Not completely hopeless yet. Taking a look at Apple, just want to highlight a couple of stocks here. So I mean, this is getting ridiculous. 84 on the RSI, all-time highs. Just got a price upgrade to $600 US. We look at Amazon getting absolutely foolish on the weekly, testing the top of the Bollinger Bands, and on the monthly we're well above super wide range here on the bands too. That's That's absolutely insane. So monthly RSI 83. Things are definitely overextended, but as we know, the market can stay irrational a lot longer than we can stay solvent and keep our cash. So cash is a position. Personally, I'm still accumulating a short. Just checking in on SPY here as we end the video, as we got 5 minutes left. Chopping around sideways here. We're looking to form a 5-minute high or low. We did form a lower high and lower low, so we changed the 5-minute trend bearish, but we did form a higher low here on the 5-minute. Bulls gave themselves enough of a bounce to form a 5-minute higher low. They also had the EMA's support here, 12 and 26 period, and now they're just looking to potentially change the 5-minute trend bullish into the end of the day, close near the high of the day, and potentially see a gap up tomorrow. Bulls like the size of that volume there to end the day, and it looks like it coincided exactly with the bots, which are trading algorithms, which were likely programmed to start buying and drive this market to Andromeda. Have yourself a great day. Make sure to check back tomorrow, like the video if you enjoyed the content, and consider subscribing to the channel.